Thank you all for tuning in to WRPI Troy and Gary's Music Show. I am Gary, of course, and I've reserved this time to make a special presentation of Ajeet Kaur's album, Indigo Sea, and she will call in about half an hour. Let me tell you about Ajeet. She's a recording artist, a yogi, and a carrier of ancient healing practices. She is a fresh new presence in the world of sacred chant, but her music has quickly found its way into thousands of hands around the world, carrying with it a sense of sacred space and an opening to healing. Growing up in a musical and spiritual home in both the United States and Ireland, Ajeet found her way to the magic of sacred music at a young age, falling in love with the music, stories, and mystery of many sacred traditions. Celebrated as a top spiritual recording artist, Ajeet Kaur's albums have been featured at number one on iTunes and World Chart and on the Billboard Top 10 New Age chart. Collaboration is central in her work, and some of her collaborators include Sanatam Kaur, Trevor Hall, and Pia. Ajeet now travels the world sharing music and practices for healing at her concerts, workshops, and retreats. Her website is ajeetmusic.com, AJEET music.com. She's going to be with us. We're going to be talking with her in about a half an hour. But before we do, we're going to begin playing her album, Indigo Sea. So straight through, 30 minutes straight, and then we'll talk with her, and then we'll finish it in its entirety. So we're going to begin right now.
Have we forgotten where we came from, who we are? We are the stars that fall. Have we forgotten to listen for the call of spirit as she sings in the night? Close your eyes and listen. Close your eyes and listen. We are stars that fall. Have we forgotten to listen for the call of spirit as she sings in the night? Close your eyes and listen. Close your eyes and listen. Close your eyes and listen.
There was this house that was almost saved from a fire that was almost put out by people who almost volunteered. As generous a nation as we are, sometimes instead of giving, we almost give. We almost come forward in times of need. Almost. But almost giving is the same as not giving at all. Don't almost give. Give. To find out how, check our website at don'talmostgive.org. A message from the Ad Council.
You are the wide open mystery, deep and unknown. I see it hidden here in your indigo folds, the woven riddles that call a soul home. On the waves of a song I barely remember, distant only in the fog of dreams. Salty drops fall from my body and drip from my eyes. Nectar of the longings of a heart. Your salty bellows move with the moon, and I remember. I am the river. I am the sea. I am the waters. I am falling rain. I am a breathing, moving thing, and I am free. Can't
I want to thank you all for tuning in today to Gary's Music Show on WRPI Troy. And we are, from 2 o'clock, we've been playing the latest album by Ajeet Kaur, and it's Indigo Sea. And let me tell you a little bit about Ajeet, and she's on the line, so we'll be speaking with her in a moment. And then after that, after our conversation with her, we'll continue finishing this lovely album. Ajeet Kaur is a recording artist, a yogi, and a carrier of ancient healing practices. She is a fresh new presence in the world of sacred chant, but her music has quickly found its way into thousands of hands around the world, carrying with it a sense of sacred space and an opening to healing. Growing up in a musical and spiritual home in both the United States and Ireland, Ajeet found her way to the magic of sacred music at a young age, falling in love with the music, stories, and mystery of many sacred traditions. Celebrated as a top spiritual recording artist, Ajeet Kaur's albums have been featured at number one on iTunes World Chart and on the Billboard Top 10 New Age chart. Collaboration is central in her work, and some of her collaborators include Sanatam Kaur, Trevor Hall, and Pia. Ajeet now travels the world sharing music and practices for healing at her concerts, workshops, and retreats. Her website is ajeetmusic.com, A-J-E-E-T music.com. She's with us right now, so let's welcome Ajeet Kaur to the show today. Hello, Jeet.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you so much for being on. And how's your days these days?
Life is good, yeah, doing very well, and making lots of music, which always makes me happy.
Are you still making new music?
I am, yeah. I'm working on a few new projects at the moment, which is really, really fun, very exciting.
Excellent. You, when did you first start recording albums?
I was in my last year of university, so about a little over 6 years ago, I guess.
About the same time we met.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's been a little while. It went quickly, but it's been a little while.
But it's so much happened in that 6 years.
It really has, yeah. I mean, we started off just playing, very, very small events, maybe, 20 people in yoga studios, and driving around in my little Volkswagen Golf, able to fit our little sound system in there. And now we've got a big crew of 7 or 8 people flying around the world and getting to play for big audiences. And I mean, I really have loved every step of it, and it's been really nice for me because the growth, I feel, has been really organic, and just I've always felt that it's just people who have come across my music or in some way connected to it, and so when we come together, it's like we already share this connection, kind of already know each other in a way. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's been a really incredible process that I feel so honored to have experienced.
You feel that this process that began approximately 6 years ago, did you feel something going on within you that had a sense that this is going to continue to build, that you are going to be continuing to making new music, and more people are going to be hearing your sound? Did you get that sense in the beginning?
I don't think I really thought that way, honestly. I didn't expect to have the opportunity to make music professionally. It was always a really big part of my life. But my family and kind of the culture I've always been a part of musically, people are musicians throughout their lives, and incredible musicians, but always kind of did some other kind of work as their main work. So I never really imagined that I would end up being a musician kind of full time. And so as the opportunity to do that has kind of unfolded, it's always been a little bit surprising to me, honestly. Every step of the way, I always feel like, oh, really? Like, I get to keep doing this. I get to keep doing what, if I was working in some other way, I would just go home and immediately do what I get to do every day. So that's really a gift.
Tell me, your mother. You have a famous father, Thomas More, who is a Care of the Soul, became internationally bestseller, and he continues to work with that. And your mother, who's Kundalini, into Kundalini yoga, as you are, right? Did she influence you into Kundalini? Your mom?
Yeah, I think she always kind of kept her yoga practice her own, but you know, growing up with my mom teaching yoga and having it in our house definitely influenced me towards it. And also just different moments in my life, yoga has been really important for me in my own dealing with illness and health issues and kind of finding my own way to self-healing. So I think yoga has definitely just kind of weaved in and out of my life, and definitely came from my mother, but then I've kind of had my own journey with it since being introduced to it through her.
Thank you. Would you briefly take us through your discography until this album, Indigo Sea?
Sure, yeah. So the first album is an EP, and it's a meditation album, and that one is called Sacred Waters. And that's the one that I recorded when I was still in university. And that one is, you know, longer meditation tracks really made for people to play while they're doing a practice or receiving a healing or a massage or something of that nature. And then after that, I made the album At the Temple Door. Let's see if I can get these in order. They're piling up, so I'm going to try to test my memory.
They happen almost one a year, right?
Yeah, they have been one a year, which has been really fun, but lots of work, but in a great way. So that first one was recorded with Thomas Barkey, who many people would recognize him because he produced the vast majority of Sonatum Kaur's music. So that was kind of my first experience was people hearing my voice and saying, oh, well, let's put her with Sonatum's producer, you know, and see if we can, what happens there. So my first project was with Thomas Barkey, making that meditation album. Then I worked with Todd Boston, who's an amazing guitarist. And he's actually playing on my newest album as well. And we made At the Temple Door, which is also meditation music, but I started to bring some English lyrics and more songs into it, and also a little bit of the Celtic feel. That was a big part of Todd and I kind of meeting in our musical taste. We both love Celtic music and Irish music specifically. So we were making a meditation album, but we really wanted to have that sort of Celtic spirit in there. And then I made Darshan with Manish Damore, and that was a really important move for me because I ended up working with Manish Damore moving forward, and we still collaborate a lot. So that's been a really important musical connection. He has toured and produced for Deva, Pramal, and Miten, and has also produced his own albums that are really beautiful. And so I went to Bali and made Darshan with him. And then the next year we made Haseya together, the album Haseya. And then I just produced my first self-produced album, which was this album, Indigo Sea. Oh, and I missed one. I knew I'd missed one. There was Shunya as well, which was another kind of shorter EP done with Manish Damore, which we did right after Haseya.
Yes.
So that's where we're at the moment.
Now, thank you. You also collaborated with Sonatum on a couple albums, and you were on a couple of her albums too. So you guys were collaborators for a while, and I felt to hear your voice on her albums and her voice on your albums was quite nice.
Yeah, I really enjoyed being able to do that. She was someone who really inspired me, especially when I was quite young, really inspired me with the way she uses music, to create such a space for people, such a healing kind of space for people. So it was really very full circle for me to get to work on those projects with her. And, we still have a really, really good relationship. And so I'm sure we'll always be kind of weaving in and out and supporting each other, which is really great to feel.
Well, I'm not the only one, of course, but all of these albums that you mentioned were big for a lot of people to hear, and I think your growth had something to do with the magnificent, beautiful music you were putting out, album after album, and then on tour you'd bring this music to us. And so a lot was in the Kundalini yoga tradition, right?
It was, yeah. I started my work with Spirit Voyage, which is a record label that mostly puts out Kundalini yoga mantra to accompany Kundalini yoga practice. And growing up, my practice was always really deeply connected to Kundalini yoga. So that's definitely a really big part of kind of my foundation and where I've come from. And I definitely really value that practice a lot.
Well, thank you. Well, this brings us now to this beautiful album, which was released almost a year ago, would you say?
Yeah, it was released in November last year.
Yeah, beautiful. And this is a self-produced album, right?
It is, yeah.
So was that process? I mean, I know you probably always wanted to do this, right?
I think I probably did, but I didn't know that I always wanted to do it until I was doing it. Yeah.
Okay. So on a few occasions that I had to talk with you throughout the time you were making music, you were always excited about the next album, and this album, I sensed that this is something that really, not that the other albums didn't reflect you, this really reflects more of your soul, your spirit, your sense of being a part of the mystic tradition of Celtic Ireland, and there's water is big on this. So there's this sense of and water is a mystical quality. And do you feel that this you're getting into something here that you haven't got into really as full as you have on previous albums?
I do, yeah. I think it has a very different quality, and I think a big part of that is, I wasn't expecting kind of to, as I mentioned, to have a music career, and it kind of took some time to get used to the fact that was happening, and then to feel how I wanted to be within that. And I think it's very strange, really, to be incredibly personal in a public way. It's something that I think over time I had to really decide that that's what I wanted to do, because there's something about singing mantras that can feel very impersonal. It's like, even if the way I'm singing them is very personal for me, I'm singing something that has been written by someone else and sung over thousands of years. And it's almost like a ritual that you just enter and you're a part of, but it's not kind of opening yourself up in the same way as, for me, something like this most recent album really just took time for me to kind of feel like, yeah, I would like to really share what my life journey has been in all of its facets, and share, almost like opening up my own journal and just saying, okay, if you're interested in listening and hearing kind of what the sound of my own heart and soul is, here it is. Like, you're very welcome to it. So I feel like at this album, I would be surprised if I ever made an album that felt to me like, okay, now I'm revealing more. Now I'm being more personal. It's almost like this album is as personal as I could be, because it's really like my childhood. It's songs that I learned as a child from my own family, and it was bringing together a group of musicians who are the people who have actually, over the course of my life, inspired me to be a musician and taught me how to play music. You know, it's kind of like I took this album as an opportunity to almost tell the story of my own love of music and allow that kind of community of support to then let me just share my heart in the most open way possible. So the whole thing was really like something that I would have done just for me, just to be able to put my heart out there in that way and to feel like I'm really doing it so fully. And then the fact that people listened to it and enjoy it and received it was almost like an extra blessing, you know, but it was something that I really had to do just for my own self as an artist. To put myself, kind of open myself in that way was an important step for me.
I think it beckons us to go deeper into your music, this album, you know? It
and
does.
My hope would be, I feel like in the process of making this album, it was so kind of personal for me and really about having the courage. And there's a lot of lyrics in there as well about kind of stepping into the unknown and listening to those voices that you know what the next step is, but there are kind of doubts or fears. And the album is really encouraging, I think, a sense of truth and courage to live your own life and do that unapologetically. And so my own process of doing that, my hope was that other people would feel that same inspiration in hearing the music. They would also feel more kind of connected and close to that voice of their own spirit, what moved them to move towards in their own life. So that's my hope with this album.
Oh, that's beautiful. You leading in concert. I guess you could. Kirtan is the call and response, but not all these songs are kirtan, you know. But you do. So I would say sacred music concerts that you lead. You feel in choosing. I've been to a number of them, and the emotion and the feeling, it takes you down. It takes you down many roads. It takes you into yourself. It takes you into celebrating, getting up and dancing. And in fact, you love to dance. So you get up and dance around. I think that's really inspiring.
Yeah.
Is that's something you really love to do, you know, dancing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, I feel like life has all of these kind of really rich colors and flavors, and I think the sadness can be beautiful, the darkness can be beautiful, and the lightness and the fun can be really important. And all of these facets, like, I just want to experience life in its fullest saturation. You know, I want to really go deeply into everything it has to offer. And I feel like an experience of music and a concert, I always want to have almost every element of life reflected at some point in the music itself. And then people, almost just their own emotional experience resonates with different moments in the concert, you know, depending on what they're experiencing in their own life. But I think of, concerts as like a time when we go to a concert with the opportunity to kind of get to know ourselves better through someone else's music, which is strange and beautiful. And so I try to always create that space where there's an opportunity for people to either go really kind of deep into their own grief or reflection or contemplation, or get up and just have like the most fun they've had in a really long time. I'm hoping that my concerts have space for whatever people are going through.
Well, I know not only from my personal experience, but many others that I know that have experienced your concerts that, I mean, we love you. I mean, what can I say? Your music inspires us deeply, and it inspires us in our heart. It makes us feel like all those things. It makes us feel vulnerable. It makes us feel that we can that we have permission to explore the emotional tapestry of our heart and soul. Because you do that.
Mm. Yeah, well, that's amazing to hear, because that is just my hope. That's exactly what makes it really easy to keep doing this work again and again. I feel that the more I can open and the more I can go deeper in myself and share more fully, then my hope is that people feel the same, that they can also feel that from my music. And so to hear you say that is very satisfying, just to feel that we're really in this together. And that's what I love about this genre of music, sacred music or world music. Yeah. It's a place where I think people come very receptive, for the most part, to a concert, and they're open to having an experience, kind of a transformative experience through music. And as a musician, that's an incredible gift that people are I always feel like the audience is so with me and so ready to go wherever my band and I go. They're just like coming with us, and we end up going on these amazing kind of journeys together through music. And I have lots of friends who are very drawn to medicine journeys or ayahuasca or that type of more of self-exploration and exploration of the universe. And for me, music is that journey. Like, music is plenty to take me to all the ends of the universe, and especially in connection with other people. Just being able to share that is really powerful. It's really powerful.
It really is. It really is powerful. And listening to your music this morning and hearing it again today, I'm getting deeper and deeper, as I may have mentioned I did mention in a note to you recently how it took me a while to finally get what you're doing. And when I got it, it was just like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And that's what inspired me to ask you if you'd like to be on the show, because I really wanted people to hear this in conversation with you, because this was the best way, I think, to present your music, to hear your words as well. So thank you for being on the show today, Ajeet.
Well, it's my absolute pleasure, and thank you for inviting me and giving me the space to share this album that really means so much to me. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thank you. I know it does, and I want to take the next few minutes, and I know you have to go, for you to please share about what you're doing these days and how people can connect with you. I will be seeing you soon, in less than a month, at Ahimsa Yoga and Music Festival, and you've been there before, and it's going to be really looking forward to that whole festival.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I think the lineup of musicians for that festival is really extraordinary this year, and it'll be a very special time in the mountains. So I'm really looking forward to it. And the next things coming up for us are, we're going to Bali for a retreat. So if anyone wants to join us for that, we still have some space. Bali is where I've recorded 3 of my albums, and so it's a place I've spent a lot of time and developed a pretty deep bond with that culture and that land itself. And so I'm really excited about, it's my second retreat in Bali, and I'm really excited to share that place that means a lot to me with people. And then we also have a big world tour coming up, which is not announced yet, but will be announced in the next couple of months. But we'll be doing a lot of touring around Europe and the Americas and Asia, and basically the world. So wherever you are, we'd love to see you.
Oh, it's so exciting that you're sharing your music around the world, Ajeet. I'm so happy for you and all the people that will get to experience you and your music, and it's so lovely. And I want to. Let me see what else I wanted to. Well, AjeetMusic.com is your website for people to check on the Bali tour and the upcoming Ahimsa. So I want to thank you. We're going to finish the album we've played. By the way, the last selection let's see if I pronounce it right. Dalaman.
Yeah, Dulaman. Yeah.
That is that's really a catchy tune.
It is, yeah. It's a song about seaweed, actually. It's a traditional Irish song about two different types of seaweed having a conversation. And the whistle player in that is Seamus Egan from the band Solus, who people might know. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that there's such a lightness, such a kind of playfulness to how he brought that song to life. So, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Really fun.
Really fun. There's definitely. We're not going to go too many more words because we get too. You only have a certain amount of time. But I will say we're going to continue playing Indigo's the title Indigo Sea featuring Rising Appalachia. Tana Bard and Ocean's Lullaby, which is going to finish it. So we're still on this journey with you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Gary, and thank you for continuing to always share this music. And I really appreciate what you do to let our music be heard.
It's a pleasure. It's really a pleasure to be able to bring this kind of music to people. I'm very grateful of that. I'm trying to right now get the right track. We played Dalama Indigo Sea. Well, just say something about Indigo Sea for a moment.
Sure, yeah. Well, this is the title track, and I guess it kind of encompasses really for me what the album is about. It's almost like the lyrics are almost an explanation of, or like a letter to the listener about what this album is speaking to. And to have Rising Appalachia singing with me also was really special. We have a really nice friendship, and it was great to get to sing together. And this one definitely has like a sense of earthiness and rhythm and a little bit of, I guess, fire to just step into our power. And I think the world and everything happening in the world at the moment, it requires a certain amount of strength and support for each of us to keep moving forward. And so that's kind of what this song is about.
Okay, beautiful. Well, we're going to continue playing. We're going to play that in the rest of the album, and we're going to finish our journey with you. And thank you so much again for being with us. Do you have a moment to talk with you off air for a moment?
Sure, yeah, no problem.
Okay. Thanks
so much, Gary.
Thank you.
As I rise, the light shines through me. Another breath, the river runs through me. Your voice, it echoes in the back of my mind. Do you remember? Do you these waters rise, I see the colors of 1,000 lifetimes, buried stories, pearls of wisdom and mystery, a distant echo, a forgotten song, or your words they linger. Do you remember my child? This path is worn down, but you
You're listening to WRPI Troy.
my tears they fall for you, that the rivers will carry you home. And as your footsteps travel on this ground, let your fears fall away, let each step be your own. You've got the stars to guide you, the moon at your brow. You're the child of the ocean. The tide is rising now. Keep the fire burning all night long. Keep your words wet with truth. Let the rhythm of the ancients keep the beat for you. These steps are your own, but we're right here for you. Let your vision be strong. Trust what you see. Let your journey go deep as the ocean. Deep as the ocean. Deep as the ocean. Deep as the ocean. Tanım boyutku dansın harika, slanı harika takında. 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 Tanrım boyutga dansın arka Slanu alika tagna fi 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 Tanrım boyutga dansın arka Slanu alika tagna fi
is to
there you have it. It's something I've wanted to do. It's been on my mind for a while, and I'm glad Ajeet Kaur decided that it's a good idea to come on the show, and I appreciate her taking the time to be on the show, and so we can play this beautiful album Indigo Sea in its entirety with a really beautiful conversation I had with Ajeet just now, and so grateful. It feels so beautiful inside to be a part of her new music. I look forward to seeing her at HIMSA too. So, AjeetMusic.com. Thank you for joining us for this special treat, Ajeet Kaur and Indigo Sea. So we're gonna be we've got until 4 o'clock, so we're gonna be playing more music, and I'll be changing course from this to be